We're back with a conversation you'll only see here on CBS News New York. You got into politics at a very young age. I wonder what you would want to tell me about what drew you to public service and why are you still doing it?
Something I ask myself every now and then, Marcia. Well, I came of age in the late 60s, early 70s. We had so much going on, students getting involved, you know, the Vietnam War, the draft, the civil rights movement, environmental movement, women's movement, all those things happening. And I was one that didn't want to sit on the sidelines, and very inspired by, you know, the words of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy. And the year I was graduating high school, turning 18, was the first year 18-year-olds could vote. And I had been active in student government. I didn't like some of the things the school board was doing, so I said, well, I'm going to take my civics lesson seriously, and I ran for a seat on the Board of Education out on Long Island, where I lived. And I had the unique opportunity where the first vote I ever cast was for myself. and I won the election. Hard to believe I was the first 18-year-old.
And so every year after that, you've continued to vote for yourself.
Yeah, I always have. I haven't won every race. I've won most of them. But you know, to have that opportunity to do public service at a young age, it really was my calling. I ended up, you know, 10 years in the private sector in a corporation. But my calling always was to do public service. So when I had the chance to run for the assembly, I never looked back. And
you did. You won.
I won.
Became controller.
Got to be controller.
And here we are.
And look, it's in some ways what we're going through now, all the polarization, division. It's kind of like the 60s, where people are very divided and it's hard to find common ground. So I've never been one to, you know, want to go back into the, you know, into the woodwork. I'd rather be there, try to make a positive difference.
So what would you say to young people today to convince them that they should get into public service the way you did at a young age?
It's, you know, that's the hardest question that you could have asked me, because it's more challenging to come up with the right answer. You know, so many young people are very disenchanted by what they see. They view politics as a closed shop, that either you need a famous name or a lot of money or big connections. That I always try to say, I didn't have a fancy name. You know, I was a Democrat. My family were all Republicans. I had no, you know, with the party. My parents were good citizens. They voted, but they had no political connections. And I was able to, you know, have this wonderful career. And what I always say to young people, you can make a difference. In many ways you can make a difference. You don't have to be in politics, but if you really are looking to be part of change in society, there's no greater opportunity than, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, whether you're involved in the party or running for elective office or working in a government staff position. We need the youth back in. We need that infusion of young blood.
So what are you most proud of in your whole, you know, you had such a long and illustrious career. Is there something that you think about as like the thing you're most proud of?
You know, I would, you know, if you're asking me in terms of my legislative career, I still would say the biggest achievement was the Long Island Pine Barrens Protection Act.
Yeah, for sure.
Preserved, you know, 100,000 acres in eastern Long Island.
Very important.
Very important. You know, in terms of controller, you know, there's so many things that we've done, but I think maintaining the strength of our New York State pension fund. And 1.1 million New Yorkers are dependent on that retirement security. So keeping it well funded.
And the decisions that you make to make sure that the money isn't lost.
Yes, exactly.
That's a big responsibility.
It is, but you know, I have a great team that works with me. And as I get older, believe me, retirement security is something we all need to think about. So I would say in terms of my controller tenure, that's probably what I'm most proud of.
So my question to you is this: if you weren't controller now, what would your dream job be?
Outside of politics?
Yeah. Well, it could be in politics, but
well, I mean, the controller turns out is a really great job, so I'm very, very content with this one. But I always wanted to write. You know, I would maybe, you know, years ago I would have probably said teaching, because my initial calling was to be.
What would you write? Would you write books? Would you write fiction or nonfiction?
I think I got a play in me if I really put my mind to it. Yes, I think so. But I would like to write. You know, I was a history major, so certainly something on history. But I think I could also take a stab at a novel. I think everybody's got a novel in them, right? You have a novel in you, for sure. You do the novel, I'll do the screenplay, we'll make it a movie.
I have this feeling it's something like a boy from Long Island goes to Albany.
It doesn't get corrupted.
It doesn't get corrupted. Now, there's a concept, actually. But I'm sure that you could tell a lot of stories of the things that you've seen and how things have changed over the years. I mean, you've seen governors come and go. You've seen speakers come and go. You've seen
majority leaders come and go.
Yeah, majority leaders come and go.
Generals come and go.
Yes,
lieutenant governors come and go.
I mean, it's like, you know, musical chairs. I mean,
yeah, I've always said I've got like the ringside seat and I'm the survivor. But, you know, I will say this, because I know sometimes Albany gets a bad rap and you've covered it for a long time. I've found many more good people than bad.
I agree with that.
And unfortunately, that doesn't come through. And state politics, it doesn't get the attention national politics does, but in so many ways, what happens in Albany or any state capital often has even more impact.
Well, because
on
it affects how you live your daily life.
Very directly. Yes, yes. So I've had, you know, people sometimes say, oh, don't you wish you'd run for Congress? No, not really. Especially the way it is now. I wouldn't want to be in Washington.
I mean, Albany has an opportunity to really affect your daily life.
Yes.
Be it the cost of power to how you educate your kids, everything.
No question about it. Criminal justice. I mean, go to...
Yeah.
But that's why I appreciate the coverage you've always given to state government, because unfortunately, as you know, many of the news outlets do not cover state politics like they used to.
We cover it a lot.
Yeah, you do.
It's
no,
important.
you know, when you go like to, you know, to you know, the LCA on the third floor, half those offices are empty now. You know,
Believe me, I remember.
Yeah.
It's
It's very different. And but see, then the public doesn't get to know what's going on. So then they don't become engaged and follow. And we need the public more focused to, you know, give input, especially when we're making some tough choices. You need to have more public engagement so that everyday people can talk to their representatives, let them know what their priorities are.
I get it. So, you know, it's cold outside. I wonder if there was any other place you could go to avoid the cold and the chilling temperatures. What would it be? What would be your warm place?
Oh my Lord! Well, you know, I'm not a fan of the cold. So my friends always say, "Why would you pick a job where you're in Albany, you know, in January, February all the time?" So frankly, I don't think about it. But I don't know. You know, I always say one day I'm going to treat myself to a long weekend in Florida in January. But with the workload
but there's
this
never
time,
any
I can't
time
do it.
to
I can't do
do
it. So I can't give you a happy place because I've never really found it.
So what does a Sunday look like for the Comptroller of the state of New York?
Well, there's always events, you know, every day. So there may be some events, and I am a churchgoer. So either I go to, if I don't go to 5 o'clock mass the night before in my local parish, it's 7:30 usually that I go, and then I get the New York Times and the Newsday and the Daily News and the Post. I still like to read the papers.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
to feel them and read them.
You know, as a former print reporter, I get that.
Yeah, and then you know, if depending on how many events I have. It's, you know, doing the laundry, paying the bills. I still got to do that stuff. And
I hate the laundry part.
Yeah, and then this time of year, I usually go to Albany on Sunday night.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
So my last question is this. You're a lifelong Long Island resident.
Yep.
Are there places that you would recommend people should go to see that you think are particularly appealing, special favorites that you have?
On Long Island?
Yeah, you live there. You were born and raised there.
I mean, so many. Look, you know, I talked to a lot of upstate folks that have never been to Jones Beach.
Wow.
So you got to go to Jones Beach. I mean,
Beautiful.
it's just so beautiful and so wonderful. The East End, I mean, I'm a Nassau County guy, but the East End is beautiful. I happen to love the North Fork, particularly Greenport and some of those communities that have really come back in a very, very strong way. I will say that one of the big attractions on Long Island still is, and I travel all across the state, we have the best diners of anywhere.
I love diners.
Long Island diners are outstanding.
So what's your go-to meal at a Long Island diner?
Well, if it's dinner, I will, if they have it on the menu, I love broiled scrod,
Okay.
or I'll get roast turkey, you know, with stuffing, kind of like that, or a half roast chicken. Those are kind of my usuals.
I get it. You're a diner
I don't
guy.
do burgers like I used to do.
Yeah,
Probably
you get
healthier
to be
than
a
some
certain
stuff.
age. You try to
Right.
I totally get it.
But a Long Island cheeseburger is still pretty darn good, Marcia.
Well, and I'm going to take you up on it. We're going to go have cheeseburgers together at your favorite diner.
You got it.
And I want to thank you for joining me today, and I want to thank you at home for joining us as well. Thanks a lot.